Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tosser Show. And we're going to continue our little visit in memoriam of PlayStation Now, knowing that PlayStation Now will become PlayStation Plus Premium on June 13. I'm doing this video end of May, exactly May 31st, 2022. And I already did a bunch of video before that. Now we're gonna see all the games that PlayStation Now used to have, starting the letter M. So let's get going. Alright, Machinarium. Never played it, but I heard a lot of good stuff. Well, no, that's not true. I did play it. I played it on iPhone or on iPad, if I remember properly. I played it for an hour or two. Fun game. You need to be liking point and click games in order to like that game, but for me it's basically one of my favorite kind of genre of video games, so obviously I liked it. But yeah, I never played it as a game preview. Next, Mafia 2. Never played the game. I heard some interesting thing about Mafia as a franchise overall, and sometimes some less good thing about it. But this is the original Mafia 2, it's not the remastered version. Next, Mafia 3, which in this case I assume is I guess it's the original version because it doesn't have a remastered name. Once again, I never played it that much. It's funny, it's in a city named New Bordeaux. I never played the franchise, so I cannot tell you much about it. Magic Orbs, don't know what it is either. Seems to be some kind of probably puzzle game. Magica 2. Magica 2, Next Chapter Magica. I think that's some kind of platformer puzzle game, I assume. I'm not sure, and it's not written here, but I never played it either. Magus. I have absolutely no clue about what that game is. It looks like an action game, I guess. I'm not sure. Mahjong Tales, Ancient Winds Wisdom. Probably some kind of Mahjong game, which have a story mode. Interesting. Never played it. Magin and the Forsaken Kingdom. Never played this one either. Looks like a platformer / action game. Maybe fun to play. I do not know. I never played it. Malicious Fallen. Never heard of that either. From the design that it has, it looks more like an RPG adventure, an adventure game, kind of. Who knows? But it's published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Mamoru-kun Curse. No clue about that. Probably a platformer. I never played it. Mantis Burn Racing. Probably a racing game, but I'm not too sure about what it is. Oh, with an RPG style upgrade. Interesting. And since it's a bumper to bumper racing, it may have a little bit of Destruction Derby in it. And yes, that was the games I was looking for a bunch of previous games. Where I was saying there's a game on PlayStation 1 that was super famous about fighting, like a racing fighting kind of like game, and that was Destruction Derby. Anyway, Mars Warlogs. I know that this one is available on Black Nut Cloud Gaming. It seems that it's an RPG. I thought it was more like a tactical RPG actually, but here it says RPG, but who knows. Anyway, Mars Warlog is an RPG. I never played it. Marvel Puzzle Quest Dart Train. It's a puzzle game. There's a lot of puzzle quests with dedicated like theme. Like for example, there's one for Super Mario, there's one with Dungeons and Dragons, I think. There's one with Marvel here. I think there's even one about Final Fantasy. I need to check that out. And Dragon Quest. Next is Master Cube. Never played this game. Apparently it's an action shooter game. Mad Hazard, Bloodbath and Beyond. What a name. Well, yeah, side-scrolling action game. I don't know much about it either. Medieval. So Medieval is the remake of whatever the name's at, but an update, a change, a big change of the original Medieval, which used to be a PlayStation game. It's a platformer slash adventure slash action. And this one, I think, will be part of PlayStation Plus, so it will be back. Mega Man 9. Mega Man 9 is the renewal of the old NES generation style of Mega Man. And they have 9 and 10. So this is 9 and this is 10. I did play both of them quickly. They're hard. They are as hard as the NES version of the game. So, the original Mega Mans. Mega Dimension Neptunia 7. I know that it's an RPG, I never played it, I know there's tons of Neptunia games. This one is one of the latest, I think, as far as I'm aware. I never played it though. Metal Slug 3. Iconic Metal Slug. Obviously, I didn't do a game preview on this, but I did play it a lot. It's a run and gun action game, action shooting. It's fun. It's just fun to play, and you play with friends and you do the co-op thing. It's super cool. Metro 2033 Redux. Well, I guess I can say 2033 instead of 2033. This one, I do actually, I know that it's a very famous franchise, but I never played it. And I think it's an FPS. Metro Exodus, which is another one. Yeah, it's an FPS, okay. So Metro 23, Exodus, and Last Light Redux that we have here, I think those are easily available on other cloud gaming platform if you want to play it on cloud gaming. Mighty Number 9, which is supposed to be done by the person that created the franchise of Mega Man. So Kenji Inafune, is that what his name is? I think that's what it is. But anyway, I never played Mighty Number 9. I'm curious to play it, although I didn't see very good rating of it, so I don't know. Miko Gakko Monogatari Kaede episode, no clue about what it is. It looks like a visual novel from the way that they talk about it, but who knows? It could be something very different. But I like the style of the way that we presented this. M. No clue about what... Oh, M. Minutes. Yeah, it must be a puzzle game. I never played it. Mirror's Edge. Famous Mirror's Edge. I did play it a little bit on Xbox 360 at the time, but I never played it again, and I need to because I feel that it's a very cool game. I like the FPS logic, but without being an FPS, because instead you actually more into a puzzle environment where you have to run and make sure you go to the good places, and then later on there's a little bit of combat in the game. It's as original as, well, maybe not as original, but it's original. And games like that, or games like Portal, are definitely games that I love. So I need to play it one of these days and need to do a game preview of it. Mitsurugi Kamui Ikae. I assume it's an action game. Yeah, it's an action indie game. And I assume that you just fight. I never played it, but the style is interesting. Monkey Island 2 Special Edition LeChuck's Revenge. I did a game preview of this one, and obviously I played the original Monkey Island 2 when it was on PC at the time, because that's an amazing game and it's one of the best adventure games that you can play. humorous adventure game, because I will consider Gabriel Knight better for me. But Monkey Island 2 has everything to be a good game. You know, it has everything to be like an excellent game, actually. I should say it this way. And now we know that Return to Monkey Island will be some kind of sequel of the ending of Monkey Island 2, if I remember properly. That'll be super cool. Anyway, if you want to know more about the game, please feel free to go watch my game preview. I highly recommend it. I think it plays rather well on PlayStation now, although it's kind of weird to play with a controller. Next is Monster Energy Supercross, the official video game. It's a Supercross game, so yeah. I don't know what to say really on this kind of game. It's like more like a sports game. I never played it, so I cannot say much more. But you know, like Excite Back is super interesting as a game. So we can play Excite Back if you want something similar. Alright, Monster Jam Steel Titans. No clue about what it is. It seems that you play with those big cars. Mordheim, City of a Dam. Okay, it's coming from a tabletop game named Mordheim, but we don't say, oh, it's a tactical game. Okay. Mortal Kombat Complete Edition. So that's when they recreated the franchise of Mortal Kombat. I never played this one, but I would be curious to play it and see how different it looks like from, you know, the older Mortal Kombat that you can play on SNES and stuff like that. Next is Mortal Kombat 11. This one is part of PS Plus, so it will be back. And Mortal Kombat 11 is kind of I think it's the latest one that came out, if I'm not wrong. Anyway, it looks pretty cool. But it's a fighting game, obviously, and no, I did not play it. Motor Racer 4. Motor Racer 4, no clue what it is about. Obviously, it's a racing game from the name with motorcycle. But I don't know much more than this. Next, MotoGP 13. Once again, a motorcycle game. Do not know much more than this. Motorcycle Club, another motorcycle game. MotorStorm Apocalypse seems like seems like a racing game and a motorcycle game. But it's within a city, so it's a little bit different than a classic racing game. MotorStorm RC Complete Edition. Yeah, once again, some kind of racing game. Mountain Blade Warband. I don't know much about Mountain Blade, but apparently it's some kind of, I don't know, maybe tactical strategy. Anyway. Moving Out. Moving Out is a game where you just have to do a moving simulator and you have to go fast and stuff like that, I think. I never played it, but I know that it's on lots of platforms, so easy to find back somewhere else. Mudrunner. Mudrunner seems to be a vehicle simulator? I don't know. Like you play in multiple big vehicles. MX versus ATV All Out. It's a supercross, motocross, I don't know how you name that, but it's basically a sport game, racing game. MX vs ATV Alive, same thing. MX vs ATV Untamed, there's lots of those. MX vs ATV Reflex, you see there's 4 of them. MXGP3, the official motocross video game. So once again a motocross game. Mad Time at Porsche. It's funny because a new one just came out not that long ago, which is My Time At, and I don't remember the last thing. I guess it's kind of like a farm simulator or something like that. I never played it. Mystery Chronicle One Way Heroics. I never played this game either. I assume it's some kind of small RPG or something. Don't know. And that was the last one on M, so let's go to the N. N start with Narco Terror. Whatever that game is, it's a shooter apparently. Then Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, which is the last opus of the Storm franchise, and I think it's a fighting game. I never played it. NASCAR Heat 5, it's the official video game of the NASCAR franchise, of the NASCAR, you know, like racing, basically. NASCAR World Cup. NBA 2K Playgrounds 2. It's a baseball game, but with some chibi art. I played something similar with WWE. That was fun, actually. The Playground franchise seems to be fun. Need for Speed Rivals, which is Need for Speed, and this is a racing game. I always love Need for Speed, especially Need for Speed 3 on PlayStation 1. I never played this one first, so I cannot tell you. And it seems... No, it's not Need for Speed. They do have Ridge Racer, apparently, that will be on PS Plus. Alright, next is Neon Chrome. Apparently a shooter. I never played it. Nidhogg. I don't know what kind of game it is, but it's interesting because it looks like a fighting game with, you know, similar to Karateka and stuff like that. Anyway. Nightmares from the Deep 2, The Siren's Call. I assume this one is more like those adventure games that looks like you're in a book and then you just have to figure out things on one screen, then you move to the next screen and so forth. Knights of Azure. It doesn't say much about what kind of game it is. Probably an action game. Knights of Azure 2, Bride of a New Moon. Yeah, we don't say much once again. Ninja Gaiden 3, Razor's Edge. So Ninja Gaiden is an action game, and it always have been like a fun action game. I never played the latest one, so I cannot tell you if it's good or not, but you can see that this Ninja Gaiden 3 and its update, Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. If you don't know, the characters that are from Dead or Alive are actually coming by default from that Ninja Gaiden franchise first. So maybe that's why you recognize some faces here, some name like Ryu Hayabusa. Alright, Ninja Gaiden Sigma, so another version of Ninja Gaiden available here. And Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. I think that Ninja Gaiden was part of one of the PS Plus, so maybe it will be there. I'm not 100% sure for. Alright, next is Nioh. In my PlayStation, okay. Nioh, which is an action RPG. It lost where I was. Okay. Then Nitro Plus Blasters Heroines Infinite Duel. It's interesting that we have games of Nitro Plus that are basically the fighting games, because Nitro Plus is a very famous brand for visual novel. Like if you look at the thing on the right, you can recognize some characters from multiple visual novels. Knowing that the one on the top right, she's Saya from Saya no Uta. which is available in English US, so that's why I'm mentioning this. Then you have Nobunaga's Ambition, Sphere of Influence. I don't know much about Nobunaga's Ambition, but it's been a franchise that exists for forever, as far as I'm aware. It's probably a strategy RPG or simulation game, historical simulation game, it's written here. Not necessarily my type of game, but it could be interesting to play one of these days. Numblast, which apparently is a puzzle game that actually was published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, so it's interesting. Pixel Junk, Nom Nom Galaxy. I don't know much about that, so I cannot tell much, but it seems like a simulation game. And that was the latest from that list. Oh, it's named Pixel Junk. It should have been on P and not N. Whatever. Alright, we finished the N. We did the MN. Let's go to the O. Let's see how we are faring. 21 minutes. So we may have to do O, PQ, and then stop there. Alright, let's go to O. Obliteracers, a racing game. Oddworld Stranger's Wharf HD. I never played the game, but I did buy it in its original Xbox version of the game. But I didn't realize that you couldn't make it work on Xbox 360 as an Xbox game, so my bad. So I never played it. I think it's kind of like an FPS, as far as I'm aware, I think. But it's a bit different from the original Oddworld. Okabu, no clue what it is, but it seems that it's a puzzle game. Okage Shadow King. It's an RPG from PlayStation 2 era, I never played it, but I always heard some weird thing about it, so I'm curious to play it one of these days, and I think that we're gonna have it back, so it should be back, hopefully. Next is Oli Oli. I never played the Oli Oli. I know that it's on lots of platforms as well. It seems that it's a skateboard game, but you have to be careful about whatever you do, because if you die, you die, or those kind of game you just have to do it and do it and do it up until you finish it, basically. You finish a level, I mean. Oli Oli 2, welcome to Hollywood. Nice wordplay here. Same thing, it's the same than the first one. Omega Quintet, never played this game, but apparently it's an RPG and idol simulation, so there must be a lot of songs in it. It could be interesting to try, but I never played it. One Upon Light. So actually that's one of the first games I played on PlayStation Now when I got the PlayStation Now, because I wanted to check some games here and there. And this one is kind of like a puzzle game with light simulator, because depending on what you're doing with the light, you could have good and bad thing happening to you. Anyway, it was pretty fun actually. I didn't mind it. Outer Wilds, which is a game that is kind of like an open world, that is very interesting because you're part of that group of aliens, and then you're supposed to go away from one planet to other planets. It seems very well done. I did a game preview of this game on Xbox Game Pass, so with the cloud gaming. I don't remember. Did I do a game preview with my voice? No, I think it's just a no commentary one that I did on this. So I should do one eventually that is like with my voice and some comments. I think he'll be back on PS Plus. Overcooked 2. So this one is interesting because it's not really an action game, but it's a game where you have to go super fast. They tell you, oh, you have to do, I don't know, a hamburger, and they say you only have 7 ingredients that you have a certain amount of elements of it, and then you have to go to every single table all around and make sure that you do the thing. Sometimes you have to make sure that certain cook do certain things because you have to press certain buttons. It's a great game to do on co-op, to be fairly honest with you, because it's really fun. It can be quite hilarious. And yeah, I played it a little bit, but I never did like any game preview on it or whatever. And that's the end of the O, so let's go to PNQ and then we're gonna finish here, I think. So we have Pac-Man Championship Edition DX Plus full version. Well, it's Pac-Man. It's famous. I never played this version per se, but I did play Pac-Man. Multiple version of it. Pac-Man Championship Edition 2. Another version of Pac-Man. Painkiller Hell and Damnation. I don't know what that thing is. Probably an action game or a first-person shooter from what it looks like. Papo.io. Papo.io is that puzzle platform game that is kind of like an indie game. I never played it, but I have it on lots of platforms, and one day I may play it really, like, because it's interesting to see like a normal human being with a monster, and the monster is a dangerous monster but is somewhat your friend. Anyway. Next is Pathfinder Kingmaker Definitive Edition, which is an RPG. I think it's available on the Xbox Cloud Gaming, but I never played it so far. Payday 2 Crime Wave Edition. So Payday is a shooter, a first-person shooter, I think. I never played it, so I don't know much about it. Penny Arcade Adventure on the Rain-Slick Precipice of Darkness, Episode 1. Precipice of Darkness. It's an RPG adventure game. I never played it, but I think it's coming from a comic book that is pretty famous. I'm curious about it. One day, I'm probably gonna try it. So that is the episode 2 of it. Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension, which is a Disney game. Platform game, apparently. PID or PID. Yeah, I don't know much about what it is because it doesn't say much here. But what's written here is interesting. Alright, Pillars of Eternity Complete Edition. Another RPG game. I never played Pillars of Eternity, but I noticed it because it's available on a lot of platforms. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Probably an action game. Obviously about Pirates of the Caribbean. Pixel Heroes Bite and Magic. I don't know what that is about. But the style seems weird. Pixel Piracy. Huh, it's coming from the people who created Terraria, apparently. Like a simulator. A rock sim. Pixel Junk Eden Encore. I don't know what it is, but it looks more like a music game from how it looks like. Pixel Junk Monsters. It's like a tower defense game. Pixel Junk Monsters Encore. Pixel Junk Racer Second Lap, so racing game. Pixel Junk Shooter shooter game. It's kind of like an exploration game. I don't know. Pixel Junk Shooter 2. Pixel Junk Shooter Ultimate. How many versions do we have of this one? Pixel Junk Side Scroller. But it's more actually like a real shooter in this case. Piyotama, whatever that is, and I think Piyotama was part of the PS Plus. I think, I'm not 100% sure. Plague Road. It seems that we're a doctor, but we don't necessarily say like what type of game this is, so I cannot tell you more than that. Planet Mini Golf, which is probably a golf game. Apparently with great physics, but I guess it's just because we're trying to show like just one woman. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting plot, I think. Okay, Planets Under Attack. Never heard of this game either, but it seems like a simulation game. Pool Nation, which is a pool game, which is funny because we tried to do an art style that looks like a Grand Theft Auto art style, which is interesting. Port Royal 3 Pirates and Merchant Gold Edition, a strategy game. I never played any of the Port Royal. Power Rangers! Sorry. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which is a fighting game. I never played it. Prey, which is a Bethesda game that I think is like an action, adventure, horror game. Primal, which is a famous PlayStation 2 game. Well, famous. I guess unfamous because a lot of people, I think at the time, like it had bad reviews, but it seems that people give it good reviews here. I'm not sure, I need to check that back, but it seems like a fun game to play. It's an action game from the PlayStation 2 era, and it looked beautiful at the time. Professional Farmer 2017. Don't know what to say, it's just a farmer simulator. Project Cars, which is like the not a remake version, but I think there's multiple versions of that game. I'm not sure. I have to check that back. Well, okay, Project Cars 2. They have a sequel here. Proteus, which is a game that is an indie game. I never played it, but it's about exploration. I would be curious to try it one of these days. Puppeteer! That game is fantastic. I love the style of that game. I have it on PlayStation 3. It will still be available on PlayStation Plus, so it will be back. And I really think that people should play it because it's really cool. I really like it. It's a classic platformer, but the style is so great. It kind of reminds me of Clonoa and stuff like that, you know? Anywho, fun game. Pure Farming 2018 simulation, farming simulation. Pure Old Them World Poker Championship, a poker game. I don't know much about that. Pure Pool. Don't know much about that either, but it's a pool game. Puzzle Agents. It's very interesting that they have Puzzle Agents from Telltale here. It's an adventure game that has a lot of puzzle in it. Kind of like a similar type of game than Professor Layton, let's say. I played it a little bit, but I stopped. I was a bit frustrated by some of the puzzles, I guess. Qbert Rebooted. I never played Qbert Rebooted, but I do know Qbert because it's an older game, older generation type of game. I don't even know how to explain it because basically you go up and down some kind of platforms and it's kind of like a Pac-Man style game, like it's an arcade game. Quantum Theory, I don't know much about this one, but it looks like it's a action game, dungeon, crawler game, anyway. And that's it, we finished with the PNQ. And we did more than 30 minutes, so I'm gonna stop there. And we can enjoy the RSTUV W. I think it's in a W. Oh no, WZ, very some Z, okay. And I know that UVWZ are fast, but I know that there's a lot of S, so we're probably gonna have 2 to 3 more videos about all of this. Alright, everybody, thank you so much for watching Tosser Show. I hope that gives you an idea about what PlayStation now used to be like, especially at its ends of its lifetime. And see you all soon. Toss out. Bye bye.